Welcome to Control Talk Now. This is your host, Eric Stromquist. Control Talk Now, your smart buildings, podcast, and video cast. For the week ending February 8th, 2015, I want to wish a very special birthday wish to my oldest daughter, Britt, who is having a birthday today. So happy birthday, Britt. And
Happy birthday,
I
Britt.
am joined, as usual, by the man, the myth, the legend, the one, the only Kenny Smyers from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Kenny, welcome to the show, big dog.
Thank you, Eric. Great to be here, and happy birthday, Britt. And we've got some marvelous weather here in Pittsburgh today, 50 degrees. So the days are getting longer, and we're feeling that spring cycle coming on. Yay.
I tell you what, man, we need to get this thing finished up quick then, because I think, when you get a 50-degree day in Pittsburgh, baby, you got to go take a walk. You got to enjoy that, right?
Indeed. Snow's melting.
Well, Kenny,
Yeah.
I tell you what, I think, this show, we're just getting back in the groove. We had a couple of big events, as our listeners may or may not know. Our listeners know we had the Control Trends Awards, January 26th. I think we're going to devote most of the show talking to that. And after the Control Trends Awards, we moved, Kenny. We moved homes with my 7-month pregnant wife and my 2-year-old daughter. If you want to look at the definition of insanity, just look at me. I can really recommend not doing an award show and then coming back and moving the next week. So we've been off the air the last couple of weeks, but hey, we're back on it now. We're going to be moving and grooving with it. But what do you think, Kenny? Control Trends Awards. What are sort of your impressions after a couple of days, a couple of weeks?
Well, it was an amazing event. First, I think we set some historic precedents. We want to thank our sponsors again. You can't do it without the sponsors, but I think the event itself was a huge success. We're still trying to get the exact numbers on how many attendees, but it was 300 plus attendees, and it was exciting because the environment, the venue was perfect. We had some great support from the McCormick Place folks. The Hyatt Regency did a great job in getting us all the logistics, and we just had a marvelous show. It was very exciting. People were spontaneous, and it was probably one of the most exciting events I've been to, especially in our industry. So we accomplished what we're out to do, and that was recognize the heroes and superstars, and in a format or a venue that was beholden to such an event. It's our Hollywood, our Grammy Awards, our Oscar Awards, and I think we pulled it off. What do you think?
I do too, Kenny. It was great. It was standing room only. It was great to look out and see the folks. We were a little bit limited time-wise by the venue. And by the way, again, I want to echo what Kenny said. A special thanks to our sponsors. Without the sponsors, Kenny, there's just no way that that could happen. So we encourage you to reach out to all the great sponsors. We thank them. We especially thank Linkspring, who work with AHR to secure the room for us. One of our criteria this year, given the weather, was we wanted to make sure that we were close enough to the event that people could walk. We did something a little bit different this year, Kenny. As you know, we had the event was from 6 to 8 on Monday night. And I think, the evening event worked pretty well. But, I'm going to elicit some feedback right now in comments, Kenny, because as we begin to break down what worked and what we could do better next year, you and I are both kind of wondering because what sort of we didn't get to do this year, we didn't get to have some of the entertainment aspects that we had before. We just didn't have the time for it. So, like I said, we're on a limited time frame with that particular room we were at. So we got Orlando next year. And as we look forward to Orlando, what we'd love to do is maybe combine some of the elements that work. So what we're thinking, and again, would love to get your input and comments, what would it be like if we did an evening event on Sunday night at a really cool venue where we could combine the best? In other words, we could have entertainment as well as the awards. Our thought process is, and we know a lot of vendors have meetings on that Sunday where they come in and they do their meetings. We're thinking maybe if we did it Sunday night, it could be the type of thing that the vendors could have their meeting and then bring their crew over to the Control Trends Awards. Because Kenny, they typically will take them out to a nice venue, a nice restaurant, something to do after they have their company meeting. So I don't know, Kenny, what do you think about that? And again, we'd like your comments on this. Any suggestions you can give us in comments, now's the time, because Kenny and I are already planning for next year's Control Trends Awards.
Well, Eric, I think we got something there. And the reason why is if we pull it on Sunday, There's been talk about having a breakfast, which we can't do. Afternoons, we don't want to interfere with the HR activities. And nights, Monday night is prime time vendor night, where a lot of the important vendors have receptions, and they got to put their executives on the floor there at the event. So Sunday would accomplish a couple things. And what we could do is basically the thought process here is that we would have it on Sunday. Everybody would be there probably to get their booths underway. All the big vendors and all our sponsors would be there. But we could save them, instead of duplicating individual reception areas, we could consolidate all that, have a great show, and basically, through the budgeting that they would have for Sunday night's receptions and logistics, we could couple all that together and really have a fantastic show at a venue that we'll pick out, make sure it can accommodate it, and do exactly what you say. Combine more of the, maintain all the important stuff, the awards, the Hall of Fame, the P-Talk Award, but then throw some entertainment in, because I think a lot of people missed it. And it was great to hear. We had a lot of compliments, but man, everybody, it was an executive version of the Control Trends Awards this year. We started at 6 and ended at 8. It was a contract, and we got it in there, and everything was kind of right on time. I think we ended 8 minutes earlier than the allotted time. So it was very, very swift and very well planned.
Thought it was good stuff. So, if I look at the highlights of the awards for me, Kenny, and again, I think we'll go through this show. We'll break down each of the individual winners. We'll talk about the Hall of Fame, the P-Talk Award. But the highlight to me was how many new people came and participated and did well. So, for example, Delta Controls, joined in, Neptronics joined in, KMC joined in. There were just a host of new players
Schneider.
Snyder came in. Host of new players that, Kenny and I, for our listeners, know Kenny and I are both distributors in our respective areas. And so, for example, we don't handle Delta Controls. We're aware of them. So it was great to see Delta come in and participate, and some of the others. And that's really the spirit of the awards, Kenny. I mean, is we want to welcome everybody. And give everybody an opportunity to participate in the Control Trends Awards and also on Control Trends. We've had a lot of people, ask us, because I think we got a lot of visibility this time around. A lot of people are saying, so, what's Control Trends all about? I mean, what's your model? And I think, one definition that, Kenny, might be we're sort of the open source media, if you will. If you're in the controls business, we don't care who you are, whether we compete against you or handle your products. If you've got something that's worthwhile for the industry in terms of training videos, in terms of products, in terms of knowledge, Control Trends is a place that we will post your stuff. We'll post your videos, we'll post your stuff. And it truly is, I think maybe one of the definitions, Kenny, is open source social media. If you're in the business, we'll welcome you with both arms, and as long as you're contributing and putting something worthwhile out that helps our industry, you're welcome.
Awesome, Eric. And then also, I'm looking at the photo library for Joe, and we had 43 countries involved in the Control Trends Awards this year, and that's up from 32 last year. 33, I think it was 33.
I think it was 34, wasn't it?
I was in the 30s. It was in the low 30s, but we had a gain of about 11 countries. And when you look at that on the globe, it's a really cool graphic. But I'm looking at some of the pictures. We had Tommy Hagenes from Norway. We had Chris Schneider from Australia. We had folks from all over the world, from Malaysia, and they know us, and it was really good, and they wanted to be part of it. And they're bringing their communities into it. So like you said, the open source community, I really like that. Like Ken St. Clair's collaboratory community. And then I think the feature that really my neatest takeaway was the young guns, how important it is for our industry to change the image, and how we can get that change, a positive effect rolling by getting the younger members that have already made it into important critical positions within their organizations through, we want to reverse engineer their careers and have them express and share how they did it, so that we can elicit and attract more of the young people that see the HVAC industry as a very viable profession, and on parity terms with doctors, lawyers, pilots, or whatever. We've got some superstars, and we're just starting to present them to the industry first, and then to the world at large second.
No, I think you're right, Kenny, and I think if we had to sum up the Control Trends Awards, what it really is about it's about recognition. It's about giving the greats in our industry their day in the sun, their Academy Awards, if you will, their walk on the red carpet, their Hall of Fame. And it's kind of great because the Young Guns is a new concept, along with Ken St. Clair and some others who have correctly identified the need to attract good young talent into our industry. Kenny and I sort of hopped on that bandwagon, and so we created the Young Guns Awards this year. It was we acknowledged, I think it was 7 of them, right, Kenny, this year?
Yes.
But so we acknowledged the young guns, the people that are just coming into the industry, and we acknowledged some of the superstars with the Hall of Fame. And then in between, we had 24, 25 awards, which we'll be breaking down here in just a second. So, Kenny, let's kick it off. Let's talk about the young guns. Who are our young guns this year?
All right, Eric. Let me. I'll tell you right now. The first one we had was Sabrina Eder from Johnson Controls. Sabrina was. She's the account executive of Johnson Controls in the greater Milwaukee area. Secondly, we had Rob Allen from Stromquist.
I got to tell a story about Rob Allen because Rob's one of our guys, and this just goes to show what an idiot I can be sometimes. So when Rob came from a completely different industry, and I basically told Rob, there's no way you're going to make it in this industry. You should go do something else. So Rob sat across the table, looked at me, and said, "If you'll give me a shot, I'll have you eat those words in a year or less." And I kind of like a challenge like that. So we gave him a job, and Rob worked his way up from inside sales. But Rob is the type of guy, and I think this is a quality that I think the young guns probably exude. Probably what has people like Chris Eichman say you got it. Sabrina Eder is a young gun. Rob always is looking what more he can add and a better way to do things. So from inside sales, he began to look at ways we could follow up on leads. He was always adding more to the table. Then from inside sales, he worked his way. He studied on his own. He got fascinated with building automation controls. A sales position opened up there. Rob asked if he could take that position. We let him. Of course, he immediately gets in. He learns the products, but he's also a great marketeer. If you go on Control Trends, you can see that Rob had an interesting thing. He said, "Hey, look, I'm a new guy, so I've had to learn DDC basics sort of from the beginning, from the terminology, from the very, very beginning." So he created a DDC controls course, DDC Basics, which is one of the most clicked on training courses on Control Trends. But it's from the perspective of somebody that learned it in a year and is still learning it. So Rob created that course, and then as you know, if you watch our go to Control Trends, he then created 7 Minutes in Control with Rob Allen because he thinks you and I are too long-winded. He thinks we could do that a little bit quicker. So it was with great pleasure that Rob Allen got the young gun. Really appreciate all that Rob's doing, and he's going to take it to the next level. He's still working it. So I think I mentioned Rob because I think that's probably a common characteristic that you're going to see with the young guns.
Yep, congratulations, Rob, and I know him personally, and he is a young gun. Super, he's got a great personality. He's really, I don't know. He's always in a good mood. He's always got something positive to say and do. Next up, we had Tommy Hagedis from the Nordic. He's the Nordic representative for EasyIO Europe and the Bergen area of Norway, and a specialist in industrial automation. Quite a rapid ascent to becoming it's a big position for a young guy. Chris Ryan is Director of Engineering at LinkSpring. He's committed to the excellence, high quality service, and client satisfaction, and was previously with Tritium as technical support. Very bright guy, very young, bright superstar for LinkSpring. Next up, we had Chris Schneider, owner of the OpenBMCS and a bona fide expert in computer software, communications, and building management systems. Basically, Chris told us his story. He said that he got involved from a family business after he got his computer software engineering degree, and he said, this shouldn't be this hard. So he came up with he basically looked at the IT standards to fulfill an open BMCS requirement, created building management control systems without the complexity of installing software or complex licensing. So he's a really bright guy. Then we had Jason Hauk, who's the Director of IT and Integration at Hepta Control Systems. And he's another just a smart cook. Why don't you tell us about Jason?
Well, he is. Well, both Jason and Chris, it's interesting because both of them are second generation with family businesses. Chris Snyder's dad, I think, is a big contractor, building automation controls contractor in Australia. And again, I think Chris grew up in the business and then loves software, so he's trying to make software better. He has a great programming tool that you can use with EasyIO. And then Jason Hauk, he told us a story about how at the age of 10 or 11, he's helping his dad programming controllers. And I guess as a kid, most kids learn their ABCs, and Jason, I think, learned his DOS commands, which he says he still uses. But great guy. It was kind of cool. The whole family was at the Control Trends Awards. I call his dad Big Poppy, and I call Jason Little Poppy. But he's got a couple of brothers too. But just a super guy. Scott Cochran is their distributor, and just has so much nice to say about Jason. And for Scott Cochran to be impressed with somebody as impressive as he is, those guys are all over it. So yeah. And so who'd we have next? We had so that was Jason.
Bringing up after Jason Halk, we had Eric Kruder.
Eric Kruder. That's right. Another family business, grandson of the founder of Kruder Controls.
He sure is, but he's another really bright guy. He's responsible for market specification and research. He's another one. He's got a degree in double E degree, and he worked his way up. Even though it's a family business, he's got quite an ascent too. He previously was the hardware design engineer, and he designed the hardware for embedded controls, focusing on digital systems based around Freescale cold-fire microprocessors. He was interested in the product power supply design, which basically is the form fit and reduces the footprint profile, and he loves his job. He's another guy that again. So these are the young superstars, and by putting them out there where they belong on the stage, and they were already picked up many of the company news, social media, newspapers, or not the websites took the people's recognition and they amplified it. And that's what it's all about. The very positive, momentum where these guys worked hard, they're successful, and we spread the news, and more people will catch on to it and they'll know what their daddies and moms do for livings, and they'll say, like you said, the HVAC professionals are very important people, and they're overlooked in many regards, and we're trying to help that get fixed, change that.
So check this out. Here's an image, the inaugural class of the 2014 Control Trends Young Guns. Kenny, that picture will go up in the museum one day. And every year we'll have a new class of young guns. So with that, after we got the young guns on, we brought our master of ceremonies, the one and only Mark Peacock, on stage and introduced his lovely assistant, Kimberly Brown from Cochran Supply. Kimberly was Mark's co-host this year, and what a marvelous job both of them did. I think Kim just added quite a spark to Mark, and Mark is never unhappy when he has beautiful women around him.
Well, Eric, plus for us too, we realized too that we were heavy-handed on the kind of like a fraternity of men, and that's not true at all. The HVAC world is populated by a whole host of talented young women and women professionals, and we wanted to take a step forward and bring that female perspective and presence into the Control Trends Awards, and Kimberly Brown was a perfect choice. Well done on that.
Yeah, thanks, Kim.
Yeah, she was very entertaining. You could tell she had some marketing background and wasn't shy in front of people. So yeah, did a great job of hosting the awards with Mark. Mark, of course, does a great job all the time. I don't know how he's like you. He's so busy. I don't know how he does it. He's one day he's in San Diego, next day he's in Chicago, next day he's in Virginia. He just goes round and round, but he always gets it done and always does a great job.
He really does. He really does. And so, Kenny, that brought us to the awards, and I think we kicked it off with the residential thermostat of the year, and a pretty strong field there, but our winner was...
And the winner is Honeywell RedLink.
Congratulations.
It's synonymous with thermostats, and they've, I think what they did was the disruptive technology, and this came in and really woke everybody up, and that got the big Honeywell Red Machine going, thinking, we just can't have this. So I think they came back tenfold and then came out with a Lyric, which was also very successful. But the RedLink was very popular, and as a distributor, we sure do sell a lot of them. Next up, we had the commercial thermostat of the year, and this went on the pendulum swing from residential to commercial. It was no surprise. Schneider Electric SE8000. Basically considered our thermostat room controller, and that was very impressive. The second and third contenders, it was a very, very close race, but Viconics, which is part of Schneider, was also in the run. So it's an interesting myriad of technologies that Schneider now has control over, because they have Can2Go and they also have Viconics in that same product fold. So big victory for Schneider Electric.
Very much so, Kenny. Very much so. So, yeah, it was great. And I tell you, it's interesting, because we moved into the new house, and they're giving me the walkthrough, and I've got thermostats on the wall, and the guy supposedly the guy that works through the warranties and all supposedly knows about houses. He tells me, yeah, this has got to reset on. Don't reset it. It's a waste of time and money. It's unbelievable. And then they're telling me, don't bother with like electronic air cleaners and filters and stuff like that. So it's interesting. The commercial builders are sort of, at least this one was sort of not really pushing the whole building system. But I will tell you, and I'm going to go off on a little bit of a tangent here, because I went to Best Buy to pick some stuff up, Kenny, and they have, I don't know whether you've been there lately or not, they have a whole section on home automation. It is unbelievable. And we're gonna hear about from Andy McMillan a bit in the future about managed lighting. But one of the sections they have, Kenny, is the Apple folks have come out with this thing called Hue, H-U-E. And it basically allows you to put like 4 or 5 lights or 6 lights in a room, and with your iPhone, you can change the color to change the mood of the room, which was really cool. But there were more cameras, IP cameras, that you could buy at Best Buy that you could hang up and interact. Nest has got one that goes with the Nest thermostat and that whole Apple app now, where you can put video cams all across your house and bring them back in. So. And they also had another thing. Jason Houck told us about it. I actually saw it. I forget what it's called, but it's essentially a plug load, Kenny, adapter that you can wirelessly control plug load, so you can turn your lights on and off if they're plugged into a particular socket. But I digress a bit. But I just thought it was kind of interesting, because we moved into a new house, and the builders sort of poo-pooing the whole idea of home automation, and yet you go to Best Buy and it's just unbelievable. What's available now.
Well, the disruptive technology begins in the residence, and that's why it's so important for Google and Microsoft and everybody to get into that game with Samsung, Honeywell, and lock manufacturers now have it. But I do wander around through there every once in a while, and I subscribe to one of the Electronic Home. It's a great EH, it's called, and it gives you probably a daily, weekly summation of the new products going into the residential space, and it's incredible, because now it's all that contextualization that we heard about from Tree Sullivan and some of the other folks, where they're going to know everything's going to be a sensor, and it's going to kind of move and groove. You get in your car, you automatically connect to your Bluetooth, you park your car, your iPhone now gives you even more location based stuff. You walk into a store, you're going to have the more of those wireless features, the Bluetooth wireless basically routers that are going to pick you up, say, hey, Eric, how you doing? It's been about 3 months since you've been here, and we got sales going on in the suit departments, and some new ties and whatever. So, but that's you could talk about this for the whole show. We're going to bounce.
We really could. I got us off task, Kenny. What was the next award?
The next award was the VFD Manufacturer of the Year. It went to the Siemens, the BT300 Variable Frequency Drive Series. Siemens is in the game. I think Siemens is another company that kind of responded fully to the control trends and really realized the potential there, because they began to. You interviewed the gentleman down in Florida, or Georgia, I believe it was.
Yeah, Josh Feldman.
Once they got involved, they have a huge community. There's a lot of people that use Siemens and like Siemens, and they rallied their community, and they won the Variable Frequency Drive Manufacturer of the Year.
That's a big one, Kenny. That was a big one, I thought, and so they took out ABB, Johnson, Honeywell, Yaskawa, a bunch of them. So congratulations to Siemens on that. They redesigned their drive and the interface, and all. I know you guys have done well with them. We have too, and it was nice to see them get an award this year.
Yeah, and then we had that Franklin that used to be Cirrus.
That's right, but they got quite a lot of hits when we were looking at the stats on control trends. That Franklin drive just had a huge deal on that. So
I think after commercial thermostats, that's one of the most heavily competitive product lines, in our business.
Yeah.
Because everybody needs VFDs, and it'll just keep on going. That's another market that hasn't really been, hasn't been cultivated well enough yet. There's a lot of selling to do out there with VFDs. All right, next up we had the Control Trends Awards Wireless Product Solution of the Year, and that was we had 2 winners in that department, tied Can2Go with their Smart Structure Light and Thermocon. We'll start with Can2Go. They've got a very, very strong product line, and Smart Structure light and structure wear are really, really impacting in the market because they handle a lot of clever applications. It's kind of universal. They've taken the Zigbee and the Enotion protocols, and they can convert them into BACnet points and bring them onto the network. And that is a very, very that's a very accomplished product line. And then you have Thermocon. David Alaban and the gentleman from his boss from Germany came into town and was very, very excited about Thermocon's win in the wireless product. And Thermocon's product line just keeps going. They've got, even though they've won the wireless product solution of the year, they also have a very broad, comprehensive product line of wired products too. And they'll remind you that right away. And next up, we have the peripheral product of the year, and that was Contemporary Controls. What do you tell us about Contemporary Controls, Eric?
Well, we love George Thomas and that company, but part of what we're doing with building automation systems is connecting disparate systems together and getting things to talk BACnet or LAN. And to do that, you have to have devices that really work. And as you'll hear later in the show, it seemed like it was a bit of a BACnet theme, but Contemporary Controls, we handle the product line. I think you do as well. Quality stuff. These guys are educators. They're givers. Quality products. So it was great to see those guys win that particular award. And again, another company that participated this year came on as a platinum sponsor. So we thank Kurt and George and the rest of the team for that.
We'll be coming back to Contemporary Controls at least one more time because George Thomas, of course, was nominated or inducted into the Control Trends Hall of Fame. And we'll talk about his book that he gave out at the show, the Network Communications for Buildings book.
Absolutely.
Next up, we have the Control Trends Lighting Integration Solution of the Year, Delta, DLS. And I'll tell you, Delta, like you said, was one of those companies that has, they are really strong in certain markets. And the Delta Controls, they were one of the first true BACnet control products. And the integration, Delta is very proud of just doing it right. And they wrote up a nice little kind of summary of their experience at the Control Trends Awards. And they were very proud of the fact that they were recognized for their total integration. They were one of the few companies that, at the onset, when they came into the building integration, it wasn't just about HVAC equipment. They knew that lighting was a big, valuable part of that, and they brought that into being very quickly, as well as access control.
Well, they did, Kenny, and I tell you what, I want to take a minute. Hopefully we'll have time to get to Andy McMillan, the president of BACnet, and his piece at the collaborative community. But I think lighting is such a key piece. So Andy is basically saying that he really sees the future of building automation controls selling the end user and lighting being what you lead in with. And he talked about numerous studies about the psychological effect of lighting and how having lighting right can increase productivity. And he believes that is what's going to sell. So I think we're going to call that trend the Andy McMillan trend, and I think we're going to track that. So I think we're going to see more and more systems integrators getting more familiar with lighting and how they use it. But if you think about it, we had some greats there. Delta had a great lighting solution. Bill Duckenberger from Blue Ridge Technologies, Kenny, who we got to spend some time with, he came on as a sponsor. And Bill and Blue Ridge have a really, really good interface. And Bill's a very bright guy. I tell you what, Kenny, I was impressed with him and the knowledge he brings to the industry. I think we'll be hearing a lot more from Blue Ridge Technologies. Obviously, Wattstopper's around, but there's several others. Mike Salvador Dali Welch, about how he uses Dali to control the lighting. But I was one of the takeaways I got from the AHR show, Ken's collaborative community, and talking to people like Bill Duckenberger is, man, lighting is a super, super important part. And I think the integrators that embrace this, understand it, and kind of use it as a way to sell systems are going to do really, really well in the future.
They sure are. And just real quickly with the circadian rhythm, when I heard that, I almost fell out of my chair. That was with Andy McMillan. Lighting, that lighting can impact how quickly patients can recover from strokes, because they increase they accelerate the day. The patient doesn't realize that 24 hours has just been accelerated to 21 hours, and that 3 hours a day can actually reduce time that people spend in the hospital. Schools are saying that behavior can be directed and can be one of the most important things about behavior and energy levels, lighting. So when people feel tired after lunch, you got to turn the lights up, and the body responds by the additional lumens in the environment, and then also retail. they're saying that lighting can help people sell what they want when they want it. So transition from trying to do energy savings into saying value added. That if you invest in lighting, you'll have better performing buildings, and the outcome will be better, better profit, happier, students, more, the behavior better, they'll behave better in class with great stuff. And there's a video that you posted, I believe 3 days ago on Control Trends that really captures it all. It's an 8-minute video of Andy's summation of lighting.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Kenny, take us to the next one. And,
Alrighty. Next up was the Innovative Product of the Year.
2014 Control Trends Awards Innovative Product of the Year, the LinkSprings Link CyberPro.
But I think that was just indicative of how important security is now, and how LinkSpring was one of the front companies that took the lead and gave a product out that our industry could use to protect itself against cybersecurity incidents. And basically it's a very clever product, but it uses basic stuff. Basically, it's supposed to be on network. Your ports are closed. If you do request to get on the network or remote enter the network, then you have to be basically encrypted at both ends. And so it's a good product, and LinkSpring was really happy, and we're happy for them. So we'll go to the next award, which is the Energy Saving Product of the Year. And it was no surprise at all. It was the Belimo Energy Valve. What did you think about that?
Well, I tell you what, Kenny, I think it's a great product. Belimo just does things right. They're very, very innovative. But the Energy Valve combines several products into one. But where it really fits in is where it replaces the balancing valves, so it allows you to get the proper flow to your coils all the way through the building, which basically allows you to have a higher delta T on your chiller, which equates to huge savings. And the cool thing about the Energy Valve, it's kind of like having a BTU meter on board too. So if you need to have any sort of reporting or something like that, you can pick up the BTUs that your chiller is putting out and use that for documentation. It's a great product, Kenny. It really is. We've sold some of them, and they work great. We got a bunch quoted, and I tell you, these guys are awesome. And I tell you, watch out for the Energy Valve, because Belimo has picked up our friend Mark Jewell, who is one of the great guys at sort of telling you how to talk to building owners about what matters to them. And energy savings is great, but as you were saying about the circadian rhythms and stuff with lighting, Andy was saying with the lighting, what they really care about now, especially with the cost of oil going down so much, what they really care about now is how you can increase productivity or increase sales. And I tell you what, the thing about the Energy Valve is it's going to keep people and the tenants in the building more comfortable, and at the same time, it's going to increase the longevity of your chiller and save you money. So that's a pretty good combination right there, Kenny.
I'll say. All right, next up we have the Building Automation VAV Controller of the Year, and that went to KMC Simply VAV, and that was another heavily contested category, because you've got some really strong contenders. You got Johnson Controls with their FG series, and then you've got Honeywell, of course, with the Spider and the Striker. You got Neptronic. It was just an amazingly competitive category. But I think KMC won out because they've made zoning easy, and they do everything from the standalone to the integration with BACnet. And well, I'll tell you, they were really excited too. It's great to see the competition, and great to see a winner emerge there that was very deserving. And
yeah, we're glad to have KMC on, Kenny. You're absolutely right, and I think to your point, I mean, KMC's been around. They manufacture quality products from a long time. A lot of the pneumatics, especially regarding VAV boxes, the stop sign. I mean, there are just millions of those out there. That's all KMC. So if you have a pneumatic box, most likely it's got a KMC controller on it, velocity reset controller on it. I think the thing that's great about the Simply VAV control, Kenny, is it's every man's VAV controller, meaning you don't have to be a DDC specialist. If you got a pneumatic VAV box and want to retrofit it, the Simply VAV is a great choice. And then it's also going to allow you to eventually, if you want to, put it on a network. It's got the networking right there. So it's a great product. It was good to see those guys win. Eric Kruder came to Atlanta to visit us, the young gun we mentioned earlier, him and Doug Miller. And KMC is a very great company. They got some new products, Kenny. They announced at the AHR show. There'll be more on that. They're coming to Atlanta next week. We're going to be shooting some videos on some of those products. We'll get them up on Control Trends. But It's good to see KMC do so well. KMC, a company on the move. What do we have next, Kenny?
All right, next up we had the Building Automation Plant Equipment Controller of the Year, and that, of course, went to EasyIO FG32, the Beast from the East, and that, again, what an amazing run these guys are on. The FG32 controller, wow, I'll tell you what, it runs with 2 ARM processors, it has flashable SD card, built-in HTML5, they have the free drivers of the Modbus, client server, BACnet client server, and they also have a programming tool that's becoming more and more recognized for, it's not going to replace the JACE, but what it's going to do is give somebody the opportunity to work with some good solid graphics, good solid energy dashboard. It's got all the fancy widgets that you need, and what's really incredible about it, it's like it's like an iPhone. It's got the latest and greatest open source technology, and they're on the move. There's another there's an FG32 Plus coming out. These guys focus on a product, and my goodness, they got a great product. So there were some other great plant controllers. It was a very competitive category as well.
Tell you what, Kenny, EasyIO, I mean, the thing about those guys is they make a great control. There's so much I love about those guys, but one of them is, they're just not satisfied. If they can make it better, they do, even though they probably don't have to. So like you said, the new Beast is just phenomenal. And those guys they work really hard. They go to a lot of different markets. And the other thing I love about them is they're inviting us to Paris to cover their worldwide conference. As you guys know, we went to Madrid last year. Mike and the boys, Mad Mike Marston and Lemon, those guys are opening it up. So if you're in the U.S., you should come with us to the EasyIO Worldwide Conference in Paris. I mean, it is eye-opening to get to talk to integrators from all around the world. It's a really phenomenal thing. So when's that, Kenny? Is that September?
Yeah, September 21st through the 23rd in Paris, France.
Paris, France. Can you imagine getting to go to Paris, France, be entertained, get to hang out with these guys, integrators from all over the world, and write it off as a business expense? Doesn't get much better than that, Kenny. And I tell you what, the trip in Madrid, I mean, it was great. You just go back to Control Trends. You can see these guys are great hosts. But more importantly, Kenny, the benefit from learning what's going on around the world. I think one of the takeaways you and I had was that there's not a whole lot of differences. I mean, getting to rub elbows with 10 of the top engineers in India that control probably 80% of the controls in India. Hey, Kenny, great stuff. We'll keep you posted on the Worldwide Conference, and congratulations to EasyIO for the win on that. So what do we have up next, Kenny? What was the next category?
All right, next we had the DG Logix. DG Lux won the third-party visualization software of the year again. And my goodness, that's another product that they just keep improving because they respond quickly. I think that's one thing neat about the company of that scale is that when they see an opportunity, they seize it, and then they also keep improving it. They came out with the DG Lux Project Assist, and now they've increased the turns on their training. So they've engaged the community worldwide. We've been in different parts of the world, and people tell us that they use DG Lux, DG Box in England, Germany, Norway, Austria. Australia, I keep slipping up on Australia and Austria. Australia, and it's because it's just a very progressive product that's easy to use and HTML5 seaworthy, and they're just very, very successful. And like I say, now they teamed up with Cisco and they're going into the residential markets, and there's big things coming out with DG Logic.
Love those guys, man. The men in black is we're fond of calling them, Kenny. Eugene, Arthur, Dennis, the boys, they do a great job. So glad to see them on the winning end again. What do we have up next, Big Dog?
All right, next up, Eric, we have Building Analytics Software of the Year, Sky Foundry. And John Petsy, I'll tell you what, another guy that's just working hard. I was on their site recently, and they have over 8,000 instances of Sky Foundry and some gargantuan number of millions of square foot that they now are using the Sky Foundry Sparks. It's an analytic package that allows you to easily find data that matters to you. And as John tells you, big data is one thing, but important data, relevant data, action data is different. And sometimes it's really it's hard to get there, but you're talking about the stuff that you're familiar with, where you have the heating and cooling on simultaneously, a valve stuck open, and just little subtle issues that cost a lot of energy, but they're hard to pick up because in our world, if nobody complains, the loudest the noise gets the attention. So, but if there is no noise coming and everybody appears to be happy, that doesn't necessarily mean everything's well and you're working efficiently.
All right, so Kenny, I want to try a vocab word here that I think describes John Petsy's stuff and products like his. Anticipatorial. Is that a word?
Oh, sounds like it. Sure.
Well, okay, cool. So if it's not, you guys can put it on Wikipedia. We coined the phrase. But so basically what John's stuff does with SkySpark is anticipates problems. It lets you know you have a problem before it happens. It's a little bit like if John Petsy could do a SkySpark for your wife. Before she even knew to get upset about something, you would get a little message and you would feed the dog or something, okay? So it really is a whole new level of stuff. Instead of reactive, meaning that it happens after the fact, which is what we call alarms versus faults. It detects faults. And like Kenny said, it allows you to get the data that you want to when you need to sort through massive reams of big data and get what's important. So I think John Petsy is one of the leaders probably in the world of this, Kenny. I mean, an ex-Tritium president. He's been around, and it's a really, really cool product. So congratulations to John and the team at SkyFoundry.
I'll say he's done a great job, and he was also on the panel with Ken St. Clair's CCC, the collaboratory panel. And by the way, Eric, you were close. There's no anticipatorial, but there's anticipatory. So, maybe we'll have to talk to
Close, but not quite.
All right, Eric. Next up, we have the Control Trends Awards Programming Software Tool of the Year, the Johnson Controls FX Asset Tool. And what a deserving award winner that Johnson Controls. I think along the years that probably has gotten better, but tell us about the asset tool. I mean, it was no surprise, and people are using it, and it's one of those A to Z's. It takes the paperwork. The job's not over till the paperwork's done, and Johnson Controls has created a product that takes you from the very first mouse click, to the invoicing and the ordering click, all in one folder, and it is an amazing product.
Well, Kenny, I tell you what, it is an amazing product. And if you think about when you're estimating a job, how much goes into just the programming, the creating the quote, the ordering the product, putting together the manuals and stuff that need to go with the job site. And I think what Johnson does is it takes the redundancy out of the FX tool, takes the redundancy out of that. So you do it once, and everything gets created. You need to submit on a job, quote a job, program a job, and install a job. So it's brilliant. I think if you're looking for a way to cut your cost, your overall cost on doing a project, the asset tool definitely does that. How much? I'm not sure, but my guess is a lot. And if you're an integrator that uses the asset tool, I'd love for you to reach out in comments and let us know how much that saves you. But then again, you probably wouldn't do that because if your competitors knew how much money you were saving, they might do it too. So we might not get feedback on that, Kenny, because it's such a strategic advantage. I mean, if you're able to reduce your cost to do a job by 20 or 30%, you're probably not going to go out and tell a lot of people about it, are you?
What happens is with the FX Asset Tool is you can cookie cutter jobs. You can get really good at certain types of jobs, and then all the paperwork, the documentation is in the folder. So what happens is if something works for you, if you have national accounts or we have multiple applications where if you did it right here, this bank wants to do that 20 times. Oh my gosh, is that FX Asset Tool becomes just an enormous time saver, because a lot of the hard work is on the sequence of operations, writing properly, professionally, and then having all the submittals done. This thing takes you right to the factory order floor and the drop ship to the job site, and then and the invoice at the end of the day. So I mean, it's a very, very strong product, and Johnson really did a great job putting it together and making it available. And they've got a set of customers that just absolutely love it.
Agreed. Well, so congratulations to Johnson. Kenny, what do we have up next?
Probably one of the biggest awards, and that's the Building Integration and Automation Software of the Year. And that went to the Tritium Niagara AX. And it's a big win because Niagara AX probably has put the building integration into it made building integration accessible to such a large part of the world's markets. And I think we're talking over 500,000 instances of Niagara AX out there, and one of the largest integration communities worldwide. And again, that we've seen that time and time again at the summits. We've seen that at the even at the Control Trends Awards. It's a who's who, but a lot of the people that are in that group of people are all Niagara AX certified people. So well done, Tritium. Well done, Nina DeCosmo, Jenny Graves, and well done, Niagara AX.
Congratulations, guys. What was up next, Kenny?
All right, Eric. Next up, we have Delta Controls winning the Building Automation Control System.
And the Control Trend Awards goes to Delta Controls.
I'll tell you what, when they won, you actually heard a hoot in the crowd. They were so excited. A bunch of very ambitious and accomplished people at Delta Controls. We have a huge network out there. And the marketing department, Una de Boer did a great job reaching out to us, and a lot of really good stuff comes out of Canada. Delta Controls is one of the largest privately owned control companies in the world. They were on board very, very early with BACnet. I think they were the second or third control company to actually sell completely, native BACnet systems, and they had the whole thing. And they have got a great motto called "Do It Right." So well done, Delta Controls.
It was nice to have them, like we mentioned earlier in the show, it was nice to have them participate. And again, a special thanks to Una de Boer, who found Kenny at a show running around with cameras and walked up and wondered what the heck we were doing. And we told her we were doing videos, and she drug us over to her booth. And we got to do an interview there. And then subsequently she said, hey, I'll be a sponsor of the Control Trends Awards. So special thanks to Una. We appreciate it. And it was great getting to meet John Nichols and some of the folks from Delta. You can see some of the red carpet interviews will be coming up in the next couple of weeks with many people, including Delta.
Sure, and they were nominated for a whole slew of categories. And then also they have Carpentry Analytics, which was also in the run for the award that the Sky Foundry won. But this got a lot of really good products, a lot of good people. And I think what's really remarkable about them is they've got a really tight community within Delta Controls. They like each other, they work hard together, and they make a heck of a good product, and they make a heck of a good team. So it was very, very exciting for them, and congratulations.
Absolutely. What will be up next, Kenny?
All right, Eric, we have the Control Trends Awards for Best Technical Support Person of the Year, Small Manufacturer, and that went to EasyIO's Lim Hoon Chat.
Yeah.
I apologize, Lim. I just recently met with Lim here in Pittsburgh. We did EasyIO training, and this guy is the real McCoy. There was some controversy within EasyIO because SK Fu says he does all the technical work, and that Lim gets all the glory. But
well, Lim walked up to me after the award and said, "Hey, thanks a lot. I can get a raise now." But we spent enough time around Lim to know that Lim's one of the brains of the operation. I think he's also involved in the development of their products. I mean, he is the type of guy that if you want to know what time it is, he can tell you how to take a watch apart and put it back together again better than it was before. Just a brilliant guy, but a nice guy, funny guy, Kenny. Great. I mean, you get to spend time around him. He's just got a great sense of humor, and him and Mike together, Mike Marston, what a pair they are.
Well, he possesses that character of humility. I mean, as smart as he is, and it doesn't matter what level, he's got the patience to explain things down, very, very straightforward in layman's terms, all the way into the highest level technical things. Lim has 2 patents to his credit, and he's a very bright guy, brilliant guy, and he's a nice guy. So congratulations, Lim, and I'm sure we'll see more people from the EasyIO folks in the future, because now that Lim won, other people are very anxious, and they've got a tremendous grassroots community, and they're very, very involved, and they're worldwide. They probably have.
Well, they are, Kenny. I tell you, I got a question for you. If we had to give out an award for the company that has the most fun and seems to enjoy what they're doing the most, you'd be hard pressed to beat EasyIO. Now, I don't know the folks at Delta that well. They seem like they enjoy it. Neptronic seems like they have a good time, but EasyIO, they have fun. KMC, but Mike and Lim and those guys. Did we mention the worldwide conference in Paris? I mean, if you want to have a good time, you got to check that out. So in September, but yeah, I think maybe we'll have to do an award one year for the company that has the most fun, because those guys, Mike and Lim and Gordon Chen and the rest of them, wow. Good times. All right, Kenny, we could talk about these guys and all of them forever. What was the next award?
All right, Eric. Next up, we had the Best Technical Support Person of the Year, large manufacturer, and that was it was two winners: Greg Holloway from Delta Controls and Greg Wilmer from Johnson Controls. And again, two very, very deserving people. Both of them have just a very long, star-studded career where they've been parts of developing products. And the hardest thing and the most difficult thing to do is to successfully release and deploy a product year in and year out to compete in the HVAC world that we're in. And the reason why that Delta and Johnson Controls have been able to do that successfully for so many years is because these folks are the these are the guys that bring home the bacon. They're the ones that work on it in their houses. I remember Greg Wilmer telling me a story. The reason why he knows it works is because he put it in his house and he proves it to himself day in day out that you can integrate these things here. And they do a lot of behind the curtains work that is just absolutely vital to the success of the products that for the people they work for. Delta.
Yeah, agreed, Kenny. And like I said, we've known Greg for years because he's helped support us, so it's good to see him. And then Grant Calhoun here, just great things about him as well. So I think you're right, man. I think a product is, at a certain level, only as good as the people that support it, and we had two very deserving individuals this year.
We sure did, and again, as you mentioned before, I don't have a whole lot of intimate contact with Delta Controls because they have a different channel than we're in, but I have heard how good they are. And then once they started participating, and we got some comments, and we saw the response when they send out to their community that were eligible for these awards and vote for us, that commanded a lot of numbers. They have a very large installed base, and then again, it's another great Canadian company. As we've been saying all along here, it's been kind of a veil lifted that a lot of the great controls made in this world on a worldwide basis come out of Canada, and one of them is Delta Controls.
Hey, Kenny, one of the emails I got, and I might as well address it now before I forget, was we did a video on Where's Kenny? You were missing in action the first night before the show, and so we had a little $50 gift card if you knew where Kenny was. And, Kenny was not giving Obama strategic advice. He was not programming a Jace. He did not miss his flight. He was not down playing basketball with the Chicago Bulls. Kenny was actually well, you tell him where you were at, Kenny. Where were you at, buddy?
I was at the Vicon Systems distributor meeting.
Vicon Systems,
the
so
VSD
nothing quite as nefarious, another vocab word, as some of you indicated in comments and emails to us at controltrends@gmail.com. Kenny was being very well behaved.
I was in the company of probably 40 of the best integrating companies in the world, and that was an exciting afternoon because you get to see some of the new technology coming out. They reviewed a lot of stuff with Niagara 4 coming out, and they talked about the April meeting in London, and they talked about the awards. People won. Cochrane Supply came home with the big award. They sold the most Jaces, and all the who's who people. CIC, Control Consultants, CCI out of the New England area, Controlco, of course, Active Logics. There was about 7 or 8 awards given out, and I tell you what, these are it was the who's who in the Niagara world, and it's a great meeting. So that's where I was. I had a legitimate excuse because Teamers Controls Group.
Meanwhile, we were out freezing in the cold, looking. Where's Kenny? Where's Kenny? All right, Big Dog. What was the next award we had?
All right, next up we have the Best Technical Support Company of the Year, Small Manufacturer, and that went to ACI. Barry Gordon and Mr. Stats they were there at the show, and I'll tell you what, again, just a eruption with grateful triumph. They won, and they treated it very, 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 very seriously. They thrive on being known as a strong technical support, as a grassroots engaging company. They are heavily involved in the industry at large, but heavily involved in the area where they're located in Wisconsin. They give a lot to the community, and it meant a lot to them to win the Small Manufacturer Support Company of the Year. And well done.
Well done, ACI. Brian Stats, Barry Gordon, Barry Flash Gordon, one of our favorites. He calls on, I think, both of our accounts, does a great job in the field. So it's good to see those guys win. And Kenny, we went from small to large. Right?
Large. That's right, Eric. The 2014 Control Trends Best Technical Support Company of the Year, large manufacturer, went to Belimo, and you know what? That's no surprise. Belimo, again, is one of the most recognized companies in the world. When you see orange, you see Belimo, and it's just an association there that's almost subliminal now. And they do have just an amazingly talented and vast support network when you're trying to do stuff and you need information, you need dimensions, you need cross-referencing, you need linkage, you need ideas on economizers. Belimo's got a tremendously talented and engaging technical support company, and congratulations to Gary Weber and Lars Underhagen and the whole team up there at Belimo. Well done.
Yeah, absolutely, Kenny. Absolutely. What do we have up next?
All right, now we're coming down to the close, Eric. We've got the Control Awards of the Year, small manufacturer,
There is Neptronic.
Neptronic, and Zev and Biagio and Luis Malgares. What a team they are! And that was another opportunity we had, eye-opening experience. That you've got some fabulous products and some fabulous solutions coming out of the Canadian area, and Neptronic was one of them. They were submitted for several other awards, but you can see that Neptronic has huge influence on a global basis. We talked about, Luis told us about all the thermostats they made for Dubai and the gold thermostats.
How are you coming with your 24-karat thermostat sales to Donald Trump? If you go back to Control Trends, you can see Kenny.
I haven't sold any.
You hadn't sold it because Donald Trump said you were the only guy in the room that wasn't nervous.
You know, I don't know what's wrong. I gave Don an opportunity. I was going to give him a great discount and incentives there, and he didn't have to buy them all at once. We could have spread them out over a year or so, but no.
Can you imagine 24K thermostats in the Trump building? I mean, I'm surprised he has anything less. I mean, but Kenny and we have the lowdown on the 24K thermostats. You time to get them, man. Time to get them. Well, congratulations to Neptronics. Love those guys, Kenny. Really do. So, what was up? What was our next award?
Next up was the corollary large manufacturer of the year, and that went to Schneider Electric. And again, Schneider Electric is a vast consortium of control companies. You know, the evolution there, you might have to help me out, but it goes somewhere like Barbara Coleman, Robert Shaw, into Invensys, into where's it go next? There was a couple of trades there.
CB.
CB Environmental, then Invensys, right, and then Schneider. But I mean, Schneider has just a tremendous, treasure chest of great control companies from Erie, Candigo, Viconics, Barbara Coleman, Robert Shaw. I mean, it just goes on. But what we do, I think now, is they've got a great website. I think they've got great technical support. I think they've got great sales engineers that go out there and really truly work closely with their customer sets. They have a very strong channel, two-step distribution, and they have a different channel that I'm not familiar with, but they kind of do it all. They're big. I mean, you talk about the big four. Schneider Electric certainly showed that they were one of the largest and most comprehensive A to Z product line manufacturers in the world.
Yeah, congratulations to Schneider, and hope to hear more from them in the future. So, all right, Kenny, what was the next award?
Okay, well, now we're moving to the people side of the show, and it's really an honor and a privilege to talk about these people, because these are the heroes and superstars. Basically, this is the cream of the cream of the crop, cream de
Creme de la creme.
Yeah, that's what I wanted. There we go. But next up, we have the Control Trends Awards Professionalism, which was kind of an error, and I apologize for that. We should have caught that well before everything got to the point where it was too late, because the true PID definition is passion.
Passion.
And I recently read something from the president of BACnet International, where passion's part of their passion, people, and professionalism, I believe is something that they had. But ours is passion, integrity, and dedication. The PID award, and it went to Miss Laura Cavett from Honeywell.
I tell you what, Kenny, was that something? I mean, because Laura is so well known through the industry. I mean, she almost got a standing ovation, because not just the Honeywell folks were clapping for her, but everybody did. I think Laura is a known commodity in the industry. I think, obviously her company appreciates her. Her customers count on her. And I think our competitors respect her. So that was great. It was so good to see Laura win that award, Laura Cavett.
Well, yeah, and she's a hands-on. Her evolution, her professional evolution takes her across many, many fronts. But we're talking, I think, at one time she was in the technical side and support. I think she actually was a branch manager. I mean, she knows it all. I've been out several times with Laura where she might have been the sharpest knife in the drawer, and her experience is incredible. She shifted over to support the security, enterprise security for both Vicon and Honeywell, and she's part of the great Honeywell team with Roger Rebenak and Richard Bogle, who also was dedicated to the start of a tremendous effort by Honeywell to get the enterprise security rolling. And Laura Kevitt, just congratulations, and very deserving. And she comes from International Falls, Minnesota, which is a very mean and wicked place right about this time of year. And congratulations, Laura. All right, Eric. Next up, we have the Control Trends Awards Executive of the Year, Small Manufacturer, and it went to Mr. Gordon Chan of Easy.io, and that was another one where 30, 40 people just hooped and hollered when Gordon won, because I'll tell you, you talk about humble and accomplished guys. Gordon Chan represents one of the most. He's powerfully, worldwide, global. Got great products, great team, but yet he's the nicest guy in the group.
Oh, he really is, Kenny. Very, very soft-spoken. We've had the opportunity to get to know Gordon over the years, over conferences and all, and a great guy. So I was really happy to see Gordon win the award. So much so that I even let him wear my hat.
Yeah, that was kind of a sudden move there, but see how he took it in stride. He just smiled all the wider and didn't overreact, didn't fend it off. He just went along with it and came out real cool.
Well, cool. And then that brings us to the Executive of the Year large manufacturer. Tell us about our winner there.
Well, the large manufacturer Executive of the Year went to Mr. Nino DeCosmo from Tritium, and Nino is a consummate executive with an incredible background, incredible potential. What's fun about Nino is he could talk for a long time about what he's got accomplished in the past and some of the great things he's done in various industries, but I think the most important thing what Nino does a projection of where Tritium and Vicon and Niagara are going. So hats off to Nino DeCosmo for his leadership, for his projection, where Niagara is going to go in the future, and well done.
Well, I'll tell you what, Kenny, for sure. And Nino came from a completely different industry, a software industry. He's relatively new to our industry, and I think the fact that not only did the worldwide Control Trends community vote for him to win, it was in a big way. So really, congratulations. I think it really speaks to how Nino has and gotten himself in our industry, understood it, and made impressions on people in the industry. So congratulations, Nino, and we'll look for great things from you in the future.
All right, Eric, this brings us to the kind of wrapping things up here, and we're going to have to test everybody's patience, but I think it's a very important thing to talk about. And the first thing we'll talk about is the PTOC Award.
They asked me to do this, several years ago, and they said, well, how do you define it? And basically, I define it as following. It's the willingness for a person to help our industry succeed, share knowledge, and really give something back to the industry, not once, not twice, but multiple times. It recognizes a person who is unselfish, makes someone else's journey a little easier, and through practice and example, makes the industry a little bit better place. The recipient is focused, a fierce competitor, and has a desire to expand and enhance our industry without exception each and every day. They are helpful and just downright a pretty good individual.
Recipients, and they are Tom Shercliffe and Bob Murchison, and it was an honor to see them receive the coveted PTOC Award. And I've seen these guys around now for 10, 15, 20 years, I think. They've been involved, in the grassroots of so much of the intelligent building movement. I always associate them with Realcomm and IBCon now, because if there's something new, technology, important technology, whether it's cybersecurity, whether it's the latest and greatest on the energy savings, or more importantly, the green buildings and the what's the rating buildings for the
LEEDs.
the Leeds buildings.
Yeah.
These guys are on top of it, and it was very
Well,
fun to do.
you know, they really are, Kenny, and I think, you know, you and I both attended a conference at Realcomm Ibencom when they were talking with the real estate leaders about sort of integrating the system. You really have to get your team aligned. I mean, you got the best system in the world, but if it's just your building engineer trying to do it, it's not going to work. If it's just your CEO saying we're going to do this, it's not going to work. And I think one of the things that these guys really are specialists at, Kenny, is aligning teams. So, and getting people on the same page in terms of their objectives and goals regarding building automation control. And they're the best at it. So it was really good to see them when they're great guys, really nice guys. Hope to get them involved more on Control Trends. We talked to them at length at the Control Trends Awards. I think we might even have the Rob and Bob show. I mean, the Rob and Tom show. Who knows? But,
Well, you know, the interesting thing I remember Tom Shercliffe when we did an interview with him. I think it was Ibicon in Vegas last year. Was the like you said, the dialogue? There was two things that I came away with on it, and one is that, you know, start somewhere. You know, you can't always go into the big phase that's going to that's going to bring the corrective actions and the resolutions done overnight. He said, man, you got to start with a kind of like a small bite. You know, get started, and then Bob always said the beginning point was the dialogue. They talk in terms that everybody can understand. So there's no lost meaning, and everybody understands the priorities, and to them and just a background too. Intelligent Building is a leading edge consultancy company too. So I mean, these are veterans that bring technology, smart technology for new buildings, for building retrofits, building analytics, building systems, cybersecurity. They're all there. But they gave out this really neat thing. It was called the Advisory Starter Kit. And I've actually used that in various occasions to tell people that you can't do it all. So let's take the most important things that need done first, and have a script to go by. I give these guys a lot of credit because they've corrected a lot of people's problems. They've got a worldwide customer base, and they do it all over the world, and they do it right, and they deserved that award.
Absolutely, Kenny. Really, really happy for those guys. And that sort of rolls us into the Hall of Fame, our two Hall of Fame inductees. Tell us about our first one that our friend Ken Sinclair from Automated Buildings inducted.
Love to. H. Michael Newman. And this guy here is just considered literally the father of back.
He had a dream that all of this stuff should talk. It was a bizarre dream, a very bizarre dream, but we weren't sure quite where he was coming from. But it sounded like an unbelievable goal. And he took that apart.
All the guys that really, started out, 92, 95, these guys recognized the man who championed BACnet and did it globally. He's a fabulous guy personally. He's a pilot in the Air Force, spoke German, did an internship as a young man over in Germany back when the Cold War was starting, and he just must be incredibly brilliant. But one of the most important things he did was he published a book not too long ago about BACnet and about networks and about the importance of sustaining our industry. And you do that through standards. You do that through commitment and standards. And he helped father and found one of the most important standards, which is BACnet. And everybody in our business can look back, and their origins go back to this Mr. Michael Newman.
Thank you to help me welcome Mike Newman, not only the father of BACnet, but the godfather of BACnet, into the 2014 Hall of Fame. Mike Newman, could you come up?
Well, Mike will certainly have a place in the Control Trends Museum, and now he has a place in the Hall of Fame. And our next inductee, Kenny, is no slouch either. Tell us about the guy that we inducted, me and you.
Well, I'll tell you, it was George Thomas from Building Control. From Contemporary Controls, and I get excited just talking to him because he's such a nice guy and he's so down to earth.
Origins of a homemade microprocessor business started in a visionary's basement to a thriving international manufacturer of industrial, building, and commercial automation components, communication and network devices, and building automation controllers. George and his team are just famous and they're really good, but I want to tell a little bit about George. He had received his BSEE and MSEE degrees from Illinois Institute of Technology. He completed, excuse me, turn to the next page. His Executive Institute for Managing High-Tech Companies. He has served as director on several boards, such as the MidCon Electronics Show and Convention, the IEEE-Chicago section, the STD Bus Manufacturers Group, the ArcNet Trade Association, the American Electronics Association, the Chicago Manufacturing Center, the Management of the Association of Illinois. He is a life senior member of the Institute of Electrical and Electronic Engineers and the past chairman of the Chicago section. He's a senior member of the Instrumentation Society and Automation Society of America, and well, it's probably international now, but George does it all. He did it in business, and he did it in his social life, and it's a great honor to introduce and induct Mr. George Thomas, Contemporary Controls.
And he is a true American success story. He started in his basement as a young guy, working on electronics, and he grew it into a worldwide business that he's just, silently successable, humble, but just tremendously knowledgeable. He's considered to be the father of networks. I mean, he passed out this book here that we all got copies of. And it's called the Network Communications for Buildings, and I was very pleased that I got him to sign it. So it's going to my library. I have a lot of signed books. I collect books like you do, and I was just really, really excited for him because I tell you what, 40 years. Contemporary Controls is celebrating their 40th year in business, but it hasn't all been easy. He cycled through and withstood just about every test of business entrepreneurship you can, from being, the financial ends of it to the technological ends of it to the competitive ends of it, and survived and flourished. And now he's got a great company, and I tell you, he's giving a lot back to the industry. So he's very, very deserving, and we're very happy, delighted to induct him to the Control Trends Hall of Fame.
We sure were, Kenny. I tell you what, great guy, George Thomas. We talk a lot about him. Kenny, I tell you what, we're up against it. We're running way over. We have a bunch more to cover, but I think we'll just catch up next week. We really wanted to dedicate this week's show to remembering the Control Trends Awards. Again, a special thanks to all our sponsors, and congratulations to everybody that was part of the 2014 Control Trends Awards. With that, Kenny, I think we're going to call it a week, so we're going to wrap it up. I'm Eric Stromquist. He is the man, the myth, the legend, Kenny Smyers. We appreciate our audience, our listeners, and remember, stay in control.
Indeed, Eric.